but he's host. Oh, hey, we're live.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
well, hello, everyone.
All right.
All right.
I think we're live. It says we are.
It says we're
Well,
live.
Okay. Good. I feel better now. All right. Well, let's see how long this lasts, eh?
Oh.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
yeah.
Brian's hosting us from a hotel in California with terrible internet service. So we're trying to preserve, I guess, what bandwidth we have right now.
Somebody's not muted in the live stream. Yeah, so tonight, Zach, who normally runs our live stream, he handles all the backstage things, if you will. Yeah, Zach's out this evening, and so we are trying to figure out exactly what it is that Zach does every week.
You can tell we've
Brian's
planned.
trying to run the stream, but Brian's at a random hotel with abysmal internet capabilities this evening. So we're going to see what we can do. Maybe we can pull this off. Maybe we can have a halfway decent conversation tonight. I don't know.
So unfortunately, you guys get the bottom of the barrel tonight.
Yep,
Yeah,
bottom of the barrel,
this is the
bro.
B team right here.
Yeah.
You know? We have been kind of laissez-faire with Zach as far as, just counting on him to take care of it all for us, So we don't really prepare for this, especially when Brian's out, because he usually takes over and does a great job. But anyway, welcome everybody. Welcome to Keep Off the Grass live cast. This is live. Yeah.
Well, I know one thing we can definitely do right, boys.
Grab that glass.
Hey, nice looking cup, Bill.
Hey, I like it.
Yeah.
Oh, yours is disappearing in the grass.
Yeah, I don't.
Your lawn.
There you go.
There you go.
There we go.
Yeah.
KOTG.
All right, boys.
Thank you much.
Yep.
Cheers.
Cheers. Let's keep off the grass.
LTZ, thanks for the $1.99. I don't know if we're going to have any sound effects tonight, though. But we do appreciate the weekly $2 donation. We appreciate that.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it's not that much long until springtime, right? Less than 2 weeks. Not much longer.
So Bill, I know you've been out in the yard. What have your soil temps been?
Right now, the past few days, it was like 55, 56, 50, and then now it's getting back down cold again.
No, soil. Your soil temp.
We've been in the 50s, yeah.
Okay.
For a few days in a row. Yeah, I was looking at the Greencast website. That thing is pretty nice, but yeah, we're way higher than historical whatever. But it's going to get cold again, so I figured take advantage of this nice weather, get out there, do it. And then rain's coming and then the cold. So get all that stuff down. It's just going to sit there ready to go as things warm back up. Already kind of soaked into the soil,
Yeah.
So that's my idea is take advantage of a good weekend, because these next 2 weekends it looks like it's going to be cold and rainy.
And then what can happen, and typically does happen in the Midwest, especially, is you go from like, oh, I don't know when I'm going to get out. I don't know when I'm going to get out to boom, 75 for a week, and your soil temps just skyrocket. And then you have to work, or you got something going on, you're out of town or whatever. And it's like, oh, missed my window or whatever. So I think from your standpoint, you're definitely treating it right to get out there maybe a week or two ahead of the curve, and that way you're better to be early than miss the window. So you'll be all right.
Yeah, especially, so I did my prodiamine and then some Milorganite. Both of those two will just sit there. I mean, like the Milorganite's not going anywhere. It's not going to get washed away. Similar, the prodiamine, once it gets kind of soaked in, it doesn't move either. Like it's there. And then what breaks it down is the heat, the sun. And if we don't really have that, it's just going to kind of wait and be ready to go. So, yeah, just taking advantage of the good weather, getting it out there, making some fun videos while I'm at it. Getting the wife outside with me, boys playing out front. It was nice, man. I had to get outside.
Dr. Poole's here.
You made it.
Welcome, Olee.
Are you at the shop?
Kind of made it.
Yeah, all right. The dedication.
Can you put that hat on behind you for the show?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The straw hat.
Can't hear you. You're on mute, Olee.
So I'll put mine on for you, Bill.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah.
We need to put it on over my headphones.
That's pretty sweet.
There we go. All right.
So
Nice.
Yeah,
I
I
like
haven't actually checked my soil temps. I'm not exactly sure where I'm sitting at, but we have had a super mild winter, and I've got flowers coming up in some of the flower beds, and you know, it's funny because it hasn't snowed at all. And I'm like, oh man, you know what? We even had some days where it was, like pushing 70 degrees a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been just a crazy, just a weird winter, and I think it's kind of been that way nationwide, right? But definitely, definitely kind of in the mid northeast where I'm at, New Jersey, New York City area, it was, been very mild. So, I was like, oh, I'll just go ahead and, went out, cleaned up the yard, got all the little sticks and trash, and my front yard, I got the oak tree, raked up all the little shells from the acorns, and went ahead and put down some pre-emergent a couple weeks ago. And then all of a sudden it just decided, okay, well, now it's going to be winter time. And so in the last week, it snowed 2 times. Just little snows, like I think we had like 3 or 2 inches the other week. And then yesterday morning we woke up and we had about an inch. And then, or this morning we had about an inch. So, and, warmed up, it was gone. No problem. So I'm not terribly worried about it, but it'll definitely, it's definitely gonna be warmer, I think, earlier than it was last year, for sure.
yeah, I went out and checked mine over the weekend. I mean, it's been nice, like low 40s, but my soil temp's still 37 degrees. So
yeah.
I thought maybe
Always.
I was actually thinking, we might be like a week or 2, but then looking at kind of the weather and the trends, it's not going to warm up. It's kind of just going to hover. So I don't foresee. I think I'm still probably beginning of April before I'm looking at doing anything. So, but I did.
He can't leave TikTok alone. He's in there watching reels, watching TikToks, whatever he's doing.
No, I'm trying to get on the YouTube chat.
Oh, gotcha. Well, Okie Lawn Guy just asked, is anybody using Anderson's fertilizers? I know Zach does use a lot of Anderson's products, and I just put down the Barricade. That's the pre-emergent that I used last year. I'm going with that again this year. So that's I think 0.48 per diamine, if I'm not mistaken.
Is that straight? Does that have fertilizer like nitrogen with it, or is it just your pre-emergent?
Yeah, it's just a pre-emergent. You can get it with a fertilizer, but I just got the regular.
Somebody asked me the other day that if they have a combo, and I double checked. They actually have 2 different strengths or 2 different nutrient ratios or whatever. But I use the one just by itself, just a straight Barricade DG is what they call it.
Yeah.
The 0.48, like Brent was saying. But they do make it as a combo.
Yeah, that's what and I did use the biochar or bio, whatever they call it, DG last year. I did buy some of that humic DG.
Yeah.
I did get some of that last year. I bought a bag of that, put that down. But I haven't, I wanted to wait for my soil test before I started throwing any fertilizers down and see kind of where I was deficient and what was wrong before I started just putting anything down. So I just went ahead and went with the the Barricade that I put down a couple weeks ago, because I figured, better early than late. You know what I'm saying? Because there have been years where I put pre-emergent down too late, and then I'm kicking myself, in the nutsack, going like, "This is what was the point?"
What was your pounds per 1,000 when you did that? What were you shooting for? Are you planning on doing a split app, like where you do a second one in like late May?
I might, and I don't remember exactly off the top of my head what the pounds per 1,000 that I put down was. So if you look at the bag, of the Barricade, it'll have a low, medium, and high application rate. So I went with the medium application rate because I did the low application rate last year. However many that pounds per 1,000 that ends up being, it's on the bag. I just don't remember it, but I had done that last year, and I still had a little bit of clover popping through in a couple spots in the backyard. Generally speaking, it did a pretty decent job, but I figured I'd just go ahead and go with the medium rate and experiment with that this year. So
sweet.
That's what I did. And I'm getting excited, man. I did do a soil test this fall. I didn't do one last year, so this is be year 2. So I skipped a year since I did one. So I did do a soil test, ordered one through Earthworks, and just got my results back yesterday. So I'm pretty pumped to kind of start going through that.
Yeah, man.
And kind of start coming up with some sort of plan. But
so when you get your results and everything, and you start mapping out your plan, do you actually put like something together, like a spreadsheet or notes, or how do you approach that?
I don't. I just kind of like start thinking like, okay, well, like I'm deficient in this area. I'm deficient in this thing, or want to see something more in this area, and I just kind of come up with it. I probably should do a spreadsheet, but truth be told, I just find that I have not had the time to sit down and really like do the hardcore math and sit here and do it, which means I'm really not I'm not a good lawn nerd. I'm not a good lawn nerd, I guess.
So I know me, like 2021, I mapped out my plan, and then I had like below it like my actual like execution, and it's not even close to being like accurate of what I planned. Dates are off. What I actually applied at the time was off, but I did keep track of everything and calculated everything. And then last year, kind of rolled the same spreadsheet over, and I had my plan, and I just never got around to putting everything in. It's just like I never did it. So hopefully this year, I got it kind of all ready to go, pending soil sample and all that stuff. But for the most part, I don't think it's going to change too much over the last couple of years. I hope it's gradually moving the way it's moving, and I hope to stay with like my same plan, my same idea. Obviously, my soil test will tell me that, but that's kind of my plan. So I got mine penciled in, and that way, if when my results come back, if they're where I think they're going to be, then I can just move forward with that. But which is why a soil test is a good thing to do, right?
Heck yeah. And what I haven't done yet is I have not compared this soil test that I just got back yesterday with my soil test from 2 years ago.
Gotcha.
From
to see how much it's moved.
Yeah, just to see what the difference is.
Yeah.
Which that's why I'm not looking at.
So what'd you use in 2021? Which company?
It was through Logan Labs.
Okay.
So it should be, basically the same. I don't even know what the hell I did with it at this point. I'm looking through my my Google Drive right now and see if I can see it. But,
yeah. So the last 2 years I've used Waypoint, and I thought it was, real quick. The results are fast on your phone app, all that. So really, really impressed with them. So this year I did order the Earthworks from Home One, and I'm also going to do the Waypoint again, just because I want to see how I want to see how the two compare, and then B, I don't want to like throw in a new company and not have like consistent results. So I'm hoping to compare how last year to this year change with Waypoint, and then I also want to compare how Waypoint and Earthworks kind of compare, and give me some information, give me some data, and I think it'd just be cool to see a couple different ones and how they read. So that's my plans for this year. I have not pulled my samples yet. I have played around a little bit out in the yard with like just seeing. I don't think our ground never froze this year, honestly, because I was out there in like February and I could still get the probe in and all that. But every time I do though, like when I'm getting the probe in there, it's just mud. So it's like I'm at least going to wait a little bit. Hopefully not too much longer. I was actually on Facebook today, and my memories popped up, and 2 years ago I was pulling samples today. So I know I'm around the time that I've done it in the past, but like I said, I looked at my forecast, and the next 7 days, 5 of the days show either rain or snow or a mix or something. So I'm like, hopefully I'll just wait till all this passes and then get it after that. That's kind of my plan with it.
What you laughing at?
The comment about if I'm probing mud, I might be in the wrong hole.
So
I did Earthworks as well, and I pulled my plugs maybe a week or so ago. And there's a lot of clay. Like it feels like in this yard, the actual amount of like soil is rather thin, and I hit rock a lot. Like there's a
Yeah.
lot of like, probably, construction leftover remnants or something in a lot of different areas. But I do have my results from last year. So right after we moved in, before I did anything, I took a soil test, and everything looked pretty good. So I think they were getting the lawn fertilized. I knew that they were getting it treated for like weeds and stuff. They had it um, pretty well weed free. So there was no deficiencies necessarily, and the pH was more or less okay. It didn't recommend lime or anything. So I felt like I could just kind of put down balanced stuff, and I kind of went with, I think it was like the 1358 or whatever at Pro Pete when I did my overseeding last fall. So that was, I believe that's kind of mostly what I put down, other than some simple lawn solutions, root hume or sea hume or whatever. So I'm curious to see what it is now. I don't anticipate there being any crazy deficiencies, so I'm kind of like, I have options of different things I have that I could put down. So, I'm not worried about anything, but I have a few different things in the old basement that I could choose from, depending on what the results say. So I have some Pro Pete. I got some Earthworks too. I got their 822, and then their 333s coming. So I could do one or two of those. I think I might do one on the tree actually, but yeah. So hoping the results come back soon, because I'm excited to see what they say.
Yeah, and I think for me, like spring is one of those things where you don't really have to really push it hard with your fertilizers, because you have that natural growth, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, even if you take your test late and you haven't put anything down yet, you're gonna get some natural growth. I think just for us, we like to get out there and we like to hit it early, and get the first mow in, get the greenest lawn right away. But in all reality, like, you don't need to hit, and that's why, like, I don't like using like your pre-emergence with the fertilizers, because I think it's too early to really, especially a lot of them are really high in nitrogen. They're not like a 3-10-10. With the pre-emergent, they typically, a lot of them are like up in like 24 for nitrogen. And I don't want to push that much that early when really the lawn hasn't woke up yet. You know what I mean?
Don't you use the one that has like, you use the 007? Isn't that what you get? Who makes that one?
Let's go.
Let's go. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
So that's just got the potassium, so not a bunch of nitrogen for you. So.
Yep. And I typically, like I said, I'm going to do that. And speaking of soil temps and all that stuff, and when you should apply it, but like, I was thinking about mine, like, so how my sun comes up and all that stuff, and my hill in the back is actually, I've thought about this last year, but I didn't execute it. Whereas this year I'm going to do it. I haven't really checked the soil temp on the hill compared to like the lawn, but the amount of time that the sun sits on the hill, and I've noticed I always get weeds up there earlier. So I'm like, shoot, I bet you it's like 5 degrees difference. So my plan is hopefully to like basically do my hill maybe, a week before, and then come and do the lower half as well. Cause I just think maybe the last year or two, I've possibly missed the window or been a little behind the curve when it comes to that, because I was checking the north side of my house versus the south side, and there's like a full degree difference in the soil.
Oh, wow.
I thought it was interesting, because
That is. Mm-hmm.
I mean, my north side, the snow never melts from over there until, a week after, just because of how it just gets minimal sun. So
yeah, the side of my house that gets hit from the sun as it goes across already has a few little weeds that have kind of popped up already. Some, I don't know what they are, but they're little, broadleaf, like textbook little broadleaf flat little guys.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, this place gets hit, and those other parts are still cold because it's in the shade the entire time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it makes sense to check the hill and maybe do that one earlier. But if you do both at the same time, I probably would just sit there. So it's, I'm always worried about having like, okay, this is the one good weekend. Rain's anticipated next weekend. I better get done what I can while I'm out here. Just worried that I won't have time. But once it starts staying later, that'll be easier to get stuff done after work too.
Yeah, like I said, after next weekend, after this weekend, we get an extra hour.
Oh, that's right. It's coming up.
Sunlight.
Yeah.
This
So
Saturday's daylight savings, so that will definitely help.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we're talking, soil temps. We're talking all that stuff. Why are we talking about that? What are we getting ready for? And obviously we're talking about spring's coming. We're looking at when do we need to put our pre-emergent downs and stuff like that. But we're kind of getting the horse before the buggy here a little bit, as tonight's show is supposed to be more focused on soil samples and why do we do them, what different companies are out there, why you should do it, who's done one, what does a typical result look like. If this is your first time joining us, we can go through some of that stuff. If you've been on for every 108 episodes, you've probably heard us talk about this a couple times. But I think, for a lot of the new viewers and stuff like that, this is going to be good information. So we'll kind of dive into that.
You guys want me to pull mine up? Let's see if Brian
man.
can do it. And we can kind of walk through, what are they testing for? What does this mean? You want to hit that? All right, let me see if I can, let me see if Brian can, because Brian's around, he's lurking, but he doesn't have the bandwidth to hop on the live stream, but he's here helping us out. So let me know if you guys can see that one. See if Brian gets it pulled up for us.
Yeah. Or whenever it pops up, we can start talking about it. But yeah, so the first thing, for a soil sample, what's the first step? What do you got to do?
Pull some plugs, baby.
So you got to pull some plugs. And typically, I've done it different ways, different years. I've went to Amazon and bought a $6 4-inch little apple core, and I've pulled samples with that. It works just fine.
Yeah, those are an excellent idea.
And then they, like, for me, because I got so much clay, and like to Bill's point, I would hit some rock as I'm going down too. It only lasted about that one day of trying to pull your plugs. After that, it was pretty much wrecked. So, so you got that option. I know some of the companies that offer soil sample kits, they actually sell a probe as well with the kit, or you can buy it from them, or you can go out and actually buy a standalone probe kit. They make them in different inches, for depending on what you need it for and what like that. But Olee, how deep should you typically target for your soil sample?
A lot of the, I guess you can hear me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Like with your Logans, they want you to either note if you're pulling a 4-inch or a 6-inch. In the same way with the, Earthworks for Home, because it's basically a Logan's test. But I've here lately pulled all of them at 6 inches, just because
of all that molasses.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But no, just hopefully the roots are deeper. Hopefully if you're doing what you're supposed to do, where the roots are actually feeding and pulling from is 6 inches or below, and not in the top. If you go around and you only pull little 2-inch cores, you're going to lie to yourself on your test, because honestly, up close to the top, it's richer, it's darker, it's topsoil. Yeah. So you want to pull, at least to my knowledge and my way of thinking, is a 6-inch. So I think normally you go out there and what you're told to do is walk an X, pulling your cores, put them in a bucket, stir them around a little bit. I don't mean like take hours and dry them out and crush them up and pull all this, because like said in the past, you're paying them to do the soil test. So put it in bucket, stir up a little bit, ship it out, let them sift it, let them grind it, dry it, sift it, let them work for their money.
Yeah. Do you think it's more important to hit an accurate depth or a consistent depth? Like, if I go out there and I take, a 4-inch, then a 6-inch, then a 5-inch and all that, like, or do you think it's, I put that mark on my probe and I go down to that mark every time. And, if it happens to be all of them are 4 inches or all of them are at 6 inches, like I just
know on their test, if you pull them all at 4, just note it.
Yeah.
And then if you pull them at 6, then note it. I put a hose clamp on mine.
Yeah.
And I've actually have a foot stop from AMS. I might be able to go find it, but in other words, I'm geeking out or going as deep into this as I can. So I'm trying to do everything repetitive and make notes and, get the best out of it. So I'm trying to repeat 6 inches on all the cores.
Yeah.
I went too deep a few times, but I have the
all this talk, that was the first time I laughed. Okay. You knew it was coming.
Did you hit the
Did
stopper?
you now?
So my first
And what
probe-
was your first indication? that you went
Yeah,
too
well, when you come back out, there's too much coming with it.
Oh God.
But yeah, so if you go too deep, right, the Landsy one is long enough to where you could just pull out that top 4 inches and have that be your sample, and then squish out the rest and chuck it in your lawn. Like I've done that a few times where it's like, all right, that was too much, or maybe I was gonna make a video or something, so I went extra deep to make it extra satisfying. That's not the sample. I don't use the whole thing, right? I just use the top half and chuck the rest. But yeah, I mean, 4 inches, it should be enough to satisfy.
Yeah, and then you're right though, Bill. That is the benefit of using a soil probe, right? Is that on the soil probe, you have a longer area that's exposed. So when you push your core out, you could theoretically break off that extra inch or two that you took, and kind of access the whole plug that you pulled.
So like I'll take mine, like on mine I have a black marker, marked. I can't remember,
Brian.
I can't remember where I marked it at, but what about this? So I noticed this where I'll take it down, I'll go down to that mark, you twist it a little bit, and then when you go to pull it back out, you may only get like that much of a soil sample. Have you guys ever had that?
Oh yeah.
So then if you get that, what do? Do you just not use that one, throw it back in the yard and grab another one?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Until you get a nice clean plug.
Yeah, buddy. I'll move over, a couple feet, so it's kind of in the same general area of the lawn.
Just hit it,
and I'll try another one. Because also, I mean, that's the other benefit of doing this, right? Even if you don't want to send your soil sample off to a lab, which I mean you should, but if for whatever reason you don't want to do that, you don't have the energy or whatever to do it, using a soil probe or something like that is good, because it kind of gives you an idea of where you have crap mixed in, right? So like say from the construction of your home or just the general geography of, wherever you live, it gives you an idea of like how deep really is your topsoil and how far down is your clay layer, how far down is your construction debris or other, rock and shale or whatever the hell else you're built on top of. It kind of gives you an idea of like, okay, this is a rocky portion of the yard, and maybe that's a contributing factor to, having, kind of lighter growth or something like that, right?
Well, like in Olee's, like to that point, like in Olee's, when you do your drone shot, you can tell where those big ass rocks were out by the road, that you covered with whatever it was, a foot of topsoil, manure, and all that stuff. But even from the drone, like those of us that have followed you for years, we can still see like that outline of that. Like it was almost like a lima bean kind of shape, you can still see it. Like I said, if you know it was there, but
a lot of that though is the younger turf.
Yeah, true.
And the younger turf is a lot darker. Like over that last rock that I covered, it's young turf, and it was getting super hungry. It started turning yellow. So I hit it with some 11 Pro Pete probably about 10 days ago, and we've had some good rain and warm weather. Man, it's like 3 times darker than the rest.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's way green. But like back to like your point, Brent, like like I can tell like where shitty spots in my yard are from like doing my just playing around with my core in the spring and whatnot, and then when we get to summer or whatever, and maybe those spots are not looking as good, and I start thinking like, oh shit, yeah, like those are the areas where it was really compacted or whatever it was.
Yeah, that's the spot that I only got the 3-inch core from.
Yeah.
And you kind of look at it, you're like, oh, okay, well, that's where that's part of the problem.
Because like I get
good in helping to diagnose kind of like some of the other things that are going on.
Yeah.
With your lawn.
Yeah, because like in summertime, it gets so dry. Like all my like sprinkler spikes will basically break or trying to put
Yep.
those in. And so when I do that, like I know like from the springtime, like, okay, like these areas are worse than the other areas. So
That's why a good soil probe is handy, not just taking soil test, just going out and being nosy. You know, if you got something going on in an area and it looks like something's wrong, you go over and you probe it and it's concrete. Well, hey, I need to get some water on this area. Or if you go over there and it's slap, saturated, then, you got possibly some type of fungus or disease and it's too much water.
Yeah.
Well, I know. Go ahead.
And also like to that point, and kind of like we're talking about, it's also good just to you poke around and say like, okay, well, how deep are my roots in some areas?
Yeah.
I think that when we talk about lawn tools, like what do we have in the garage, what do we have in the shed that's a quality lawn tool that can help us to grow a good lawn? I think that a soil probe is worth its weight in gold, just in terms of being able to look at. There it is.
Nice.
There
Brian's
you go.
getting the hang of it.
That's a guy that likes to go deep.
Yeah, buddy.
What if I could?
Depends on what tape measure you're using, right?
I know you got that short soil probe, right? You got the little 4-inch one or whatever. What's
I
the
do.
small one that they sell?
I got a small one and a big one. So
Uh-huh.
my son's size and my size.
Mm-hmm.
But like, okay, to your point, like, it's a useful tool. So, I posted I can't remember when it was. It was sometimes winter. I was stacking some bags of Pro Pete in my garage and one of them kind of broke open. So I just swept it all up and I flung it out in my yard, right? Not thinking anything of it. And it definitely got real hot, from that area. I'd posted a picture of it a while back. And so, like this winter, I went out a couple times and I've literally just like almost aerated it. But using my plugger, just kind of going around in that whole area, hoping that maybe, it can get some better air movement, can get some, open it up a little bit. And maybe I'll get a fighting chance that it'll
poor man's
come back.
aeration right there, just
Yeah, exactly.
just go around, work it.
Yeah.
I mean, that they have those ones that have like 2 prongs, you just use your foot to push it down. I mean, same concept. You're just doing it manually. So yeah, you get an area kind of real good that it has issues. Maybe you want to get some more airflow down there. And yeah, makes sense for me. Sure.
Yeah.
So Brian, I see you've been throwing up that soil test from Brent.
Man.
Let's
take a look at that.
Let's pull that baby up and it's kind of Brent. Like, I guess it's your test. Like, what's your overall takeaway? What jumps out at you? What's alarming? What are you happy about? What are you pleased to see?
Yeah. So the big thing is our, I have a high sodium content soil and I'm deficient in potassium. So low K, high sodium, those are like kind of some of the main takeaways. So with this particular test, the one that, we were referencing through Earthworks, the one that I went and ordered from them, you're going to get it kind of broken down in a couple ways. So this is kind of the full breakdown. It's going to kind of go by parts per million, pounds per acre types of things here. And this is going to break it down into all sorts of little things, some of the things that we'll use and like take into account, some things that are, way above my pay grade. And then you also get this kind of soil test summary. This is just a good way to, easy visual point of reference, easy point of, access, which I like looking at this because I'm no soil scientist and I'm not nearly as good at, a lot of this stuff as a lot of other guys. But I like kind of looking at both of these and kind of trying to dissect it. So, I can just look right here and say, okay, well, it's high in magnesium, right? Phos is a little bit on the high side too. So maybe I need to stay away from, any phos based, fertilizers, any, high number.
So you need like the 10-0-10 from Pro Pete instead of like a 11-11-11 or whatever. You need like the 10-0-10.
Yeah. Because and here we see that the potassium's pretty damn low.
Where's your pH at?
pH is right here, so I'm kind of pretty good on the pH side of things, which I was glad about. So I do remember, I was looking earlier, I was sitting here going through all my Google Drives trying to find my last soil test, but I do remember that my pH was low 2 years ago when I did it. So that's really good to see. You know, that I'm sitting pretty nice on the pH side of things. And like I said, real high sodium in my lawn.
I think we were talking about that with you, Olee. Didn't you have, when Jack was on, didn't we have the high sodium too? And he was talking about one of their things can help with that. And then same thing with the phosphorus. It like can help unlock the phosphorus.
The
Was
thing,
that the 822?
yeah.
I don't know.
He was probably talking about the C3. It's their humic acid that has, you know, like molasses and seawater and
Okay, yeah, it could be that. Yeah.
a bunch of other
So
fish.
are there recommendations at the bottom of that?
Yeah. So, you know, Earthworks does give you, you know, recommendations on some of their products here. And it's relatively basic. I mean, it's not going to give you a full fertilizer program. So for anybody that's looking for a full fertilizer program off of any of the, you know, soil test kits that are out there, I mean, you're probably not going to get that, right? So you're going to have to do a little bit of thinking and, you know, at least understanding, you know, hey, at the very basic, like you said, Nate, right? The 3 numbers on the bag, I don't want anything with a phos in it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want anything with phosphorus with a middle number. I need to try to steer
Or
clear
at
of
least
a
you
lot
want
of
it
that.
way lower than the rest for sure.
Yeah, way lower than the rest of the numbers, right? So at the very least, you can look at it and say, okay, well, nitrogen's going to be what it is, right? We're not testing for nitrogen. This is not you know, we're not looking at like how much nitrogen's in the soil and all that, because, you know, our nitrogen obviously, right, needs to be focused on feeding the plant. What does the plant need? What's your turfgrass type? And, you know, kind of going from there and saying like, okay, well, what does it need throughout the year? But looking at what else is in the soil, just knowing the NPK on the bag of fertilizer or the bottle of fertilizer, if you're, you know, using a liquid, to be able to say, okay, well, that's something I should stay away from, right? Like, you know that I need to focus this year. This tells me, right, that I need to focus on, you know, having stuff that's going to be high in potassium. So I'm going to want, you know, whatever my nitrogen number is going to be, I want it to be high in potassium, and I want it to be low in the middle number of phosphorus, right? So even though this isn't going to necessarily give us a breakdown of, oh yeah, hey, here's a whole fertilizer program, at least is giving you a really great idea of saying, like, okay.
When I'm looking here too, it even breaks down, so it addresses the sodium. You know, talks about applying gypsum, and that's not necessarily an Earthworks product. So that's giving you just, you know, common sense or good advice based on your results, which I think that was my appeal and why I wanted to do this test this year, is just to look at I'm a visual guy, so I like seeing those visuals of kind of where you stand, and then also gives you a little bit of explainer, and then you can go and Google and look and dig into stuff deeper if you want to get a deeper understanding. But it just kind of gives you real easy, you know, not too intimidating breakdown of what's going on and a couple of recommendations. So that's what I like about it.
Yeah, and this is just good because it's like, you know, kind of, I don't want to say dumbs it down, but it does a good job. I mean, look, it's sitting here at the bottom where I'm looking right now. Bioavailability. I mean, just saying like, oh yeah, hey, here, this is, you know, holding capacity. This is what soil pH is about. This is what this is going to do. So, you know, it gives you a couple, you know, kind of good pointers, a couple starting points, and, you know, kind of going from there. Obviously, I want to try to bump up this organic matter, which this was the big one another big one that I wanted to look at, because after we had Jack on, I was really interested in using some of the products that do have the chicken manure in it. And, you know, I think that'll be super beneficial. Just looking here at organic matter, I think that'll be super beneficial for my lawn. But this also tells me that, you know, I kind of do, sometimes I bag, sometimes I mulch. You know, This is telling me like, all right, you know what, this year I'm going to focus on trying to mulch more and bag less. Right. So
embrace the healthy laziness.
Yeah. Cause I mean, you know, the soil test, right, is telling us things like that. It's not even just saying like, how great is my grass going to grow, or, you know, what are the nutrients, but also saying something as simple as that. Like, I can adjust not only my fertilizer program, but also my practices and how I'm maintaining the yard.
Sure.
You know, because okay, I'm low in organic matter, so I need to put a little bit bigger focus on, you know, trying to use something that has organic matter in it and returning some organic matter back into the soil by way of mulching more instead of bagging.
So it called out gypsum. Are you going to use that this spring?
I'm not sure yet. I probably will. I probably will because, you know, we're looking pretty high. So
It's, if I remember, like yours recommends
what's it saying here?
10
pounds per thousand,
which isn't bad at all. I swear, like I was reading somewhere that you're supposed to put down like 30 to 50 or something. Like it's, I can't remember. Right? Yeah, I could be wrong, but I was thinking I read that and I was like, holy shit, like that's.
I mean, don't they come in like 50-pound bags? I think.
Yeah,
right?
like I swear.
Bag for 1,000. Oh, fuck.
Like I swear, like somewhere I was reading, like mine was telling me I should put down like 300 pounds per app, and I'm just like,
Let's see if I
good
can find
God.
something on
Good
Home
crap.
Depot.
Yeah, and I don't think, and like I said, I could be wrong, but like for some reason last spring, I remember going to the store and I'm like, damn, I am not buying this much. You know what I mean? Like, I think I bought like 8 bags.
Anytime you do like lime or gypsum, I mean, you go after it. You know,
It's
sometimes when you're liming, you're looking at, you know, it could be anywhere from 30 to 40 pounds 1,000. You know, like a ton to the acre. So
I might be
last
right
time,
then.
last time I done gypsum, and what's crazy is most of your pallets come in a ton, 2,000 pounds. For some reason, gypsum comes on a 2,500 pound pallet. So the last time I done it, I bought an entire pallet.
Yeah, I have 2 bags left over in my garage from last year, which I'll definitely put down. And I'll probably go out and buy more because I can't remember. I think it was like 10 pounds a bag at the, Menards or whatever. But I'll probably put that down again. I think I did spring and fall last year. Like I said, I'm curious to see also, how it changes things and whatnot. But I think
I done it. From what I remember, I done it because I was low in calcium and I was low in sulfur. And the two of the gypsum had, I think it had like 20%. I'd have to go back and look, but it had a good bit of both.
Yeah, Lucky Green just said 32 pounds per 1,000 square foot is what he's putting down.
Oh wow!
On 98,000.
But like on your soil test, it's saying your phosphorus is high. But the question is, is that available phosphorus to the plant?
Yeah,
so
that's
I don't.
the other consideration, right?
Yeah, and I don't know that you can just say, "Oh God, I'm high in phos." So now I'm not doing any this year because the plant still requires some of that to grow. So, and I talked to Jack today, and I tried to have him hop on with us this evening and just sort of look at some of that. But he said he would like to come back in about 2 or 3 weeks, if possible, and help everybody look at their soil test.
Oh, that'd
be idea.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That'd be a good idea.
Yeah, because he emailed me today and he was like, "Hey, yeah, I saw that you got your results emailed to you. You want to sit down and go over them? Let me know, and we'll set something up." So, that'd be good because it's again, I'm no expert, right? I'm just a dude trying to figure some of this stuff out, and I don't have the time to time or energy to sit down and research it like some other people do. So it's also a matter of saying like, okay, well, what are the resources that are out there to interpret this and to help me make, good decisions? And listen, a lot of the companies that are out there, especially the companies that we've worked with, people that we've had on as guests, if you shoot them an email and you ask them for some input, say, hey, I want to use Simple On Solutions. I want to use Earthworks. I want to use ProPete. They have the resources out there within the company. And it might not be right away, but they have the resources that a lot of these companies will get back to you if you're really asking them like, hey, what would be a good move here? Somebody like Eric that we had on last week from Simple On, right? An agronomist, PhD guy, and he says, yeah, I get on the phone with customers all the time. So that's another thing. If you're not terribly up to speed on stuff or don't have the time or energy to sit down and really delve into it deeply, those resources are available through a lot of these companies. So something else to keep in mind.
Yeah, they're there to help you. I mean, that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I don't and I could be wrong here, but I think gypsum's something you want to get down, in the spring and fall or whatever. I don't believe it's something you want to put down like mid-season. I don't know if that matters or not.
I would say as long as the ground's not frozen, because I mean it's just like lime. You can basically do it whenever, and it takes time to
break down.
do anything. It's not going to be immediate like a bag of nitrogen.
Right. And that's the other good thing I'm looking at my pH, because I know the pH was low. So 2 years ago, I did put down lime. And, obviously that was a good move, because I'm kind of just about right where we want to be, which I was excited to see. So,
yeah.
Because Earth Science, I used some lime from Earth Science.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently it did the trick. And I don't remember how much I put down. I have it written down in a journal someplace, but apparently that did the trick, and I'm excited to see that. So that's the good thing here, using, doing different soil tests is kind of tracking the progress and being able to look at it.
Yeah. And to me, that's where I want to the year over year, just to see how things have moved a little bit. Cause like to your point, when I got mine back last year, I could see my pH dropped because mine's high. I think I went from like a 7.4 to a 7.2 or something like that, or a 7.6 to a 7.4 or something like that. And I was kind of like, yes, like at least I'm moved in the right direction, and I'm not going the opposite direction. Like, oh shit, So for me, that's kind of cool to see, and you can compare your numbers and just kind of reassurance that, okay, my plan that I have in place is working, and it's not just a visual thing. There's other things happening behind the scenes under the grass that actually are, doing what they're supposed to do. And that's why you're getting some of the results that you get. So, but yeah, so I know gypsum, I'm planning on putting some down. Hopefully my results will tell me I need to, but I haven't even got my soil kit yet. So like I said, I'm not in any hurry. I still got some time, but once I get it, then I can get that sent off and see some results.
Yeah. Jason Smith just said in the chat, gypsum in the spring is good because most places get a lot of rain in the spring, and gypsum needs water to dissolve, connect with sodium, and soak in out of reach of the grass roots.
Perfect.
I like it.
I think you're on the right track with that.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
He also said he would love to see a KOTG with Jack going over other earthworks tests. And yeah, I mean, if he comes back on, I have my test from Mizzou I did last summer before I did anything to the yard. He can go over that and see, what he would recommend. And maybe I can try to go back and figure out what I actually used when I did my seeding and everything. See how close I matched up with what he would recommend.
Yeah, and that, to that point, like, we kind of kicked off the show talking about, like, do we track stuff and all that? It kind of goes hand in hand with, if you're going to get the soil test, then you can compare to like, okay, here's my results. Here's what I did. Here's my updated results. But if like, I'm not knocking on Brent at all. I'm just saying, like, if you don't track it all, granted, what you did, but you can't kind of make those connections between, okay, I use this, I use this, I use this. And maybe, like someone like Jack could look at your plan or your what you use and be like, okay, I see what you're using here, and that's good. And yeah, I probably don't need that, or, vice versa or whatever,
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
But I mean, you can still sit down and say, I use this, and he could, probably off the top of his head, he could be like, yep, okay. But
I mean, he does it every day. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like when I track all my stuff, the only thing I was actually calculating was my nitrogen. I still recorded, okay, it was a, 16.48, and I used, 120 pounds. I still have all that. So I could go in and do all the calculations, but I don't in my spreadsheet. The only thing I have it set up for is to calculate in.
Yeah.
But like I said, if I can calculate in, I can calculate everything else. And so
Yeah.
I just don't break it down that much. But
yeah, I don't think I've gotten to that level of detail either. I agree with what you said. Like, I just figured out, okay, if it says I'm low here, just I know that when I'm going to go calculate my N, choose which ratios I want one that has a little bit more of this or a little bit less of that. But I don't actually calculate it per pound or whatever for the year.
Yeah.
But I also moved so many times. I haven't really got a chance to see progress. So this will be the first time I get season to season.
Yep.
And this will be my first full season here at the house, which would be cool. I mean, looking online, Mizzou, they don't recommend getting them, but maybe once every 3 years, unless you have a specific problem you're trying to correct.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's for like an average homeowner who has some level of interest in having a nicer yard. We are kind of like the exception to the rule, right? We are folks that like to tinker and get in there and, micromanage our yards. And
dial it in.
Yeah, exactly. So, if you're looking at this from that perspective, we're kind of overboard. But for us, it's fun. It's cool. It's our hobby. There's a level of interest that we have that other folks just don't want to have to pay for, and that's understandable.
So Brent,
you want to see if anything's improving or moving. And,
right.
But the other thing is if you have applied any fertilizer, you need to wait a good 60 days before you take a soil test, because you will pick up those priels and you'll turn around and lie to yourself.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, you want to make sure you don't inadvertently pull that up. Yeah. I'd probably throw it way out of whack.
I was gonna hit on that, but just for those of you in the chat that are asking, timing wise, you definitely want to do it before you like for me in the Midwest, I'm coming out of winter time. Nothing's been on the lawn for 5 months, and so coming out of that, and I haven't done anything this spring, so I want to get that all done before I start throwing some stuff at it. Because to Ole's point, you could pick up something that you recently applied 2 weeks ago, and it would skew your numbers. So it'd almost be kind of fun to, if you had 5 tests, you would do one like throughout the year and just see how much it does, like go up and down based on doing it right after an application or something. But
I can tell you that I had a couple bad spots where I had sprayed out some Bermuda, and I was trying to get the grass to come back good. So I'd loaded it up with some 333. And then I was talking to Jack, and I was like, these spots ain't doing so good. And he's like, well, let's pull a soil test. So I go out and probe those bad spots where, I had literally just put down 333 by hand, just throwing it down. Mm-hmm. And this test comes back, and I'm like, whoa. And then I was like, Jack, I screwed those up, because 3 weeks before that, I went out there and just dumped it. So
they were all high, basically.
Oh man, the phosphorus was out through the roof, the organic part through the roof. A lot. It was like something's up.
It was definitely obvious. Yeah. Well, that's good. At least it was like clear.
It was picking up a lot of those priels, and then they were in the actual bucket, and they were being tested. So we're just about testing straight chicken poo.
Now, how about this one, guys? Do you guys do more than one soil test for your yard? Are you doing a front yard, backyard? Or, Olee, you got a lot of space, right?
I do 4.
Do you do yours in quadrants?
I do front, side, back, and then field.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for that is the front yard is all, I guess you would say, native soil, all original soil. To the side is field dirt. To the back is field dirt from a different location. And then the whole field is all original, but doesn't have near the time invested. So, my front yard will be a CEC of like 5.4. The side yard's about the same, but then the very, very back there has got 300 loads of field dirt, and back there is like a CEC of 10, because it's a total different type of dirt from another city.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I could see, like, to your point, yes, but my gut tells me, like, if you're in a normal residential area, the only reason you have a front and backyard is because you put a fence up. But it's not like when they were filling your yard back in, they said, oh, we're going to do the back different than the front. They probably just blanketed your whole property with however they're going to level it out or do whatever.
What they do when they build a house is they strip all the good stuff and they sell it.
Yep.
And then they leave you with the
graded,
the undercut.
That's what I'm saying.
And then you have to start over and actually do what we're
Build
doing
that
now
up.
and rebuild and build
Yeah.
your own topsoil.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But to my point is there shouldn't, in most cases, there shouldn't be a big difference between like front and back. And the only reason you have a front and back is because you or the homeowner put a fence up. You know what I'm saying? Like there's not like if there's a creek in the middle of your yard, you know what I mean? And
In
you
your
have
neck, a crick in your neck. Creek.
like a creek, like in your if you had if you had some water that ran through yours, I could see that being different. But like for the most part,
But now if you got a backyard that's super shaded, that's going to be different. Or if you got a backyard that's full of, believe it or not, pine trees, are sort of acidy. So you could have a different situation, even if it wasn't fenced off.
Gotcha.
So,
but yeah, so I mean, so to your point, like Brent, like I personally don't. I just do my whole yard and I mix it all together and I just send off my samples and just because when I'm doing mine, I don't have any barriers or I don't have any I don't have any fences or anything like that, so I'm not gonna like I'm gonna use this product on this half and this product on this half. I'm just treating it as a blanket area and I'm gonna run with one product for the whole area.
Mm-hmm. Well, and somebody in the chat, Minnesota Raz, said that they have in the past done two, one for the front and one for the back because of the road salt, right?
Oh, it's
from salting the streets. And I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense. That you could expect a higher sodium content in your front yard, but just to kind of keep track of like how much worse is it, I guess, is pretty good.
I have a fence, so I got a front and a back, and I haven't done a soil test in the back yet. The back's kind of a hot mess. It definitely wasn't taken care of as much as the front yard of this place, and I haven't done anything with it yet. I wanted to aerate last fall, but the company that I had scheduled ended up falling through, and by then it was like too late, and I had just had to start overseeding and moving on without. But I would really like to aerate myself so I can just hit it really hard this fall. So I'm basically going to kind of try to lightly fertilize it, maybe give it some water in the summertime, keep it limping along, and then this fall I want to aerate it really heavy, and then just throw seed down. I'm not going to like try to kill off any mismatching grass. I just want to see if I can fill it in and see what it looks like filled in. Just make it playable. I don't think it'll ever look quite as good as the front unless I kill it all off and start fresh, which I don't think I'm going to be able to do. So try to keep it alive and hit it hard in the fall.
Shoot, I'd cord plug it, overseed it, hit it with that 333, and then just clean up the weeds later on.
Yeah.
And let the kids play.
Yep. That's kind of the idea.
Yeah.
So
cool. Well, what do you boys think?
Fun. I think we should have Jack back on. Once we all get our tests back, we have a little bit more to talk about. Maybe we'll get some variety in the results, and we can all kind of see what he has to say. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, for sure. And for not having Zach here with all of our, fancy pants new things, it's a pretty good conversation.
Heck yeah. See, we no lawn of the week this week, right? We're gonna bring it back. When spring hits. So, March 20th, the first day, 21st, it's the first Tuesday. Yep. So, start. If you're out there mowing, get your first cuts in and whatnot. Start using that hashtag KOTG lawn of the week. We'll be looking at it. We know folks' lawns aren't quite woken up yet, so that's why we're going to hold off a little bit. We want to make sure that if we pick somebody, there's at least some competition. So, that's it. All right, boys. Bring on spring.
Right.
That's it. Bring on spring. Not kidding.
All right,
well, everybody, thanks for joining us. And
man, it was 70 here today.
Whew.
Nice.
God, that's so nice.
Not here.
Jealous.
Yeah. I'm about sunburnt.
We had a nice weekend, but we're cooling back down again.
Yep. All right, boys. Go Hawks.
Everybody have a great week.
Thanks,
See
Brian.
you back here
Clutch tonight.
Tuesday.